Hello and welcome to Goddess Resurrection. My name is Britta and I am your host, and today's episode is on your soul path journey. Now, in this video today, we will address this old pressure cooker of, oh no, am I on my soul path? Am I making the right decision? How do I know? How do I know? Am I? And that is really not what this is about at all. This video is actually meant to take that pressure off of you and make it much easier to get onto your soul path and to stay on your soul path, and understanding that it's not just one great big choice. It's a lifestyle. It's a new way of living in this body, in this experience. It's a inner compass alignment. But before we get started, before we dive in, hello, my gorgeous sister. How are you? I hope you are well. I'm sure you've felt the influx of vibration, of frequency. Today is the 28th, Friday the 28th. We've got the planetary alignment where all of the planets are aligned in the sky. This happened over the course of the night. And of course, yesterday and today, depending on where in the world you are, we've had the new moon in Pisces, which is ringing in eclipse season, which is also now the new North Node. Pisces is the new North Node, right? And so this is a big deal. This is a very big deal. It's understanding that we are being taken onto our soul path. And that is why I hope you are listening to yourself and giving your body the rest and drinking lots of water and doing exactly what you feel you need to be doing, especially over the course of this weekend and this upcoming week, because it's really these next 2 weeks that are bringing in these changes, these big manifestations that are meant to pull us onto the soul path. And my job is to help you get there, to help you be on that path, because it's a lifelong journey. And I'm here to assist you, and I'm here to cheer you on, because it is the difference between you staying in ego and living in fear and in judgment, or you becoming more and more free and more fearless and more new earth vibration lifestyle. Now, let's dive in. And I want to start this video with a client example, because as it came about, I had actually a session this morning with a client, and I'm not going to say names or point out any obvious things, but I do feel that this example is going to be very helpful to illuminate my points. And so let's go ahead and let's start breathing together. Let's get into the feminine energy, because, of course, the soul path is all about us being in our feminine energy and realizing that it is through the feminine energy that we will know everything we need to know. And from here, I invite you to stay in your breath, stay conscious in your breath, keep your eyes open while you're breathing, while you are taking in this information. And so this client I've known for many years, and we check in every so many months, and she has had a little bit of a challenging time period. She got pregnant, and the father of the child just disappeared, abandoned her and the child. And so from the get-go, when she was pregnant, right? This all happened when she was pregnant. And so she had a lot of trauma. She had a lot of internal, oh, I'm alone. Oh no, I'm alone. Oh no, I'm doing this alone. Oh no, I have to do this alone. And she really rose to the occasion, as we do as mothers. And, she pulled her socks up and she did what she had to do. And she moved back into the area of where her family lives. And so, the son is now a little bit, a few years. I don't want to give any too many specifics. And so now she's fine. She's fine. The son is amazing. I saw him today on the Zoom call, and what a gorgeous, gorgeous, sweet angel boy. And so she actually came to me with the first intention of the session was, I really would like to meet somebody. I really would like to have a partner. I don't want to do this life alone. Life is better shared. And so she was beginning to tell me how there are some great mothers that she's been connecting with. And one of them was asking her, would you mind if I set you up? I know this wonderful man. Would you mind if I set you up? And even though my client wants to be in a relationship, wants to have a partner, wants to share her life with somebody, wants to have somebody there as a father figure for her son as well. And so even though this woman was offering this, which was so wonderful and so nice, she felt this contraction in her heart. She felt this pain in her heart. It was almost like, oh no, then I'll be stuck here, because this man that she was going to set her up with was in that same town. So she felt this contraction, this heart pain. And so she reached out to me because she felt that maybe there was more work to be done in giving and receiving love and feeling worthy and feeling good enough. And as she's telling me this, I'm like, I kind of was feeling like, that doesn't feel and doesn't look and doesn't sound like patterning that is still of not good enough, still of lacking love. I was like, And I said to her, sometimes the body wants to also work with you and get you onto your soul path. The body is very much the communication tool for the soul. And anybody who's been working on themselves right now is being taken to their soul path. And so the soul works through the body. And so this heart contraction, I said to her, we'll look into it, but I have a strong feeling that your body is saying no to this setup, interestingly enough. And then we continue speaking, and she shared with me that, she really wants to live in the sun. And she's got herself set up with her work to the point where she actually could. She could either get a new job, she already knows somebody who's looking, or she could open up a branch for the company that she's working with already. She already spoke to her boss, and he was very open. And then she continues to tell me, I love living in the sun. I need the sun. I feel alive in the sun. I can't have these dreary winters. I can't have all this density and this darkness most of the year. When I'm in the sun, I feel free. But I need to be responsible as a mother. I need to make sure, my son is in school here, in kindergarten, and he's got his friends here, and I have my family here, and I don't want to move him around, and I don't want to drag him around. And he's already asking, where's my dad? How come my dad doesn't want to meet me? How come my father isn't ever reaching out? Right? So she's dealing with so much pressure, so much mother guilt, right? So much conflict in and around moving into the sun. And I said to her, this is very important for any parent to always remember. When we as parents are happy, we are that vibration that leads the way. And especially as a single parent, as I was all my life, not all my life, but, as a single mom, I had to learn this too, that if I was happy, because our children are sponges, right? They're taking on our vibration. When we're happy, they're happy. So it's very important to not place all of this heavy energy. If it wasn't for him, I would move. And I said to her, that's really heavy energy that you're placing onto him. And that's not going to work in the long run. And she was like, oh, yeah. And then she continues to mention to me how, she's started to have some, back issues and this issue and that issue. And her body has not been very happy with her. And I'm like, I feel you need to move. And I feel that you need to not put this on your son, this heavy energy, but make sure that you're happy, because when you're happy and you're living your best life, he's going to soak up that energy. He's going to soak up that vibration, and he's going to be happy because you're going to show him happiness. You're going to teach him happiness. You're going to teach him self-love. You're going to teach him how to live on the soul path. So after all of this pre-talking, we then went into the energy work, right? So she needed a good clearing, a good grounding, a good opening to her light. And then from there, we had her begin her inner communication, which then turned out that it was her ego. It was her ego that was throwing in all of these reasons as to why she shouldn't move, why it's not a good idea to move into the sun because of the sun, why not to move because of the sun, why not to move because of the community, why not to move because of the support, why not to move, right? So it was the ego voice that was giving her all of the reasons that were very logical, made total sense. And that's how the ego rolls, right? Remember, the ego hooks into the masculine energy. The ego can only hook into the masculine side of the brain. And so therefore, my client, having been in this survival mode, having been in this I am alone, having been in this, gotta make ends meet, gotta work it out, having her to-do list daily. So she has been very much in the masculine energy because she had to be the masculine. She had to be the provider. She had to be the strong one, right? She had to be that, gotta do it. No choice but to do it. And as she was beginning to communicate with her ego more, and she realized that all of these thoughts, all of this way of thinking was coming from the ego, then the ego said to her, so she was asking the ego, well, but why are you bringing up all of these reasons? And the ego said, well, because I have to protect you. I have to protect you. You have to get everything done. I've been protecting you all of this time, and I've been like helping you get everything done, everything you need to get done every day. Every day you have to get all this done. Masculine energy, masculine energy, masculine energy, pressure, pressure, fear, 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 right? And she was like, oh. And I said to her, okay, make sure you thank your ego, right? Make sure you say thank you. And I appreciate you helping me. And I'm so thankful for you supporting me all these years where I had to get it done. But let's move it along. Let's get out of this habit. Let's get out of this patterning, right? Because now she realized that her ego got stuck in this patterning, and her ego, her logic, would have kept her in this patterning for the next 50 years if she would have let it. Because see, the ego patterns get stuck. The ego gets stuck in a certain role. The ego gets stuck in a certain way of assignment. The ego gets stuck in a certain way in which it's always known to support you. That's the ego support, right? That's what the ego is meant to do. It's meant to help us move through life and take care of the human, the earthly, the physical aspects, masculine energy. Now, there's another very important aspect to this. Besides her listening to the ego fears and logic that made total sense to her, she had also not listened to her body. So she was listening to her ego, she was listening to her head, but she was not listening to her body. She felt the heart contraction. She misinterpreted the heart contraction, thinking that, oh, well, maybe I'm just not ready. Maybe I have deeper blocks. Maybe I'm still in the not good enough. So not only did she misinterpret the heart contraction, she also ignored that sense, that knowing that she had, oh no, then I'll be stuck here. Oh no, if she sets me up with this man and it works out and we get along, then I'll be stuck here. She totally ignored that intuitive knowledge, that sense, that knowing, that intuitive voice that came to her. And plus, all of the other discomforts in her body, all of the other, like the back pain and all of this, like, the body just not being happy. She had not listened to her body. She had forgotten to be in her feminine energy. She had forgotten to listen to her body. She had forgotten to be in her body communication. She had forgotten to be in her feminine energy and to communicate to all of the parts of her. Because when we are in our feminine energy, we are able to communicate with the ego. When we're in our feminine energy, we're able to communicate with the body and listen to it and see what's up. So we're always in clarity. And so once we had taken it all apart and created clarity with all of this, mishmash of voices and energies and sensations, so much going on, all because she had been stuck in her masculine energy, stuck in her ego, stuck in her survival mode, stuck in the, oh, I'm alone, I have to go every day. And then once we cleared it all and opened it all up, she was like, moving into the sun is exactly what makes me feel this joy. Moving into the sun is exactly what is making my body relax. Moving into the sun, this vision, this thought of moving into the sun, her body relaxed, the pain went away, her heart released. And she was like, and I will meet my partner there. I will meet him there, but I first need to get myself there. I first need to go there and start this new life, and he will be there. She knew it. She felt it from the depth of her intuition, from the depth of her soul, from the depth of her being. And then she had to tell her ego, because remember, ego holds on to the pattern it knows. And so then she had to tell her ego that, well, I don't want to be alone anymore. I want to have a partner. I want to be with my person and share my life. And we need to get to where I'm guided to go in order for me to meet him there. So she communicated this to the ego. And the ego was like, well, then what about me? What about me? What are you going to do with me then? What am I going to do? So the ego started freaking out. And this is not the first time that this happened. I have worked with thousands of clients, obviously, and this ego communication is very common and very necessary. And this is your key to understand that you also need to talk to your ego. You also need to learn to talk to your body. we'll get there in a second. So I just want to finish this thought. So the ego needs to feel important. The ego needs to have an assignment. The ego needs to feel like it has a role because the ego is built in. We cannot kill the ego, right? So the Buddhists, for example, they teach about, releasing the ego. We can retrain the ego. We can bring the ego on board. We can befriend the ego. We can learn to work with the ego. The ego is built in. We can never, ever, ever cut it out. Okay. So ego communication, knowing what your ego voice is saying, is very important. So once she realized that the ego was also keeping her away from the sun because the ego didn't know what would be its new role, now it all opened up. Now it was like, oh, well, you're always going to be of assistance to me, she said to her ego. How about now, first and foremost, your new assignment is to help me get there, help me move, help me orchestrate this, help me get into the details of the human stuff of the move. And the ego was like, okay, yeah, okay, I can do that. I can totally do that. And then she said, and then once we're there, then we're going to have to start our new business. And then we're going to start our new life. And then we're going to be hopefully in a partnership. And so that's going to be a whole new pattern. And that's going to be a whole new level of support that I'm going to need you with and for every day. And the ego was like, okay. So the ego relaxed and was on board. Her body relaxed because she was finally listening. And again, we have to understand that our body, the consciousness of this vessel, works for the soul. The ego does not. The ego works for the human, the physical aspect. This is why the ego attaches to the masculine energy, and the body is a connection with the feminine energy and the soul self, right? Both energies absolutely necessary and important, but let's not mix and match these energies any longer. And this is why it is so important for you to realize that, once her body was understanding that she's now listened, she got it. She's not going to stay. She's going to talk to her boss on Monday. She's going to get the ball rolling. The ego is happy. It's got a new assignment. It was acknowledged. Her nervous system. We also had to talk to her nervous system. Her nervous system was still, oh, I'm alone. I'm in fight, flight. I'm in survival mode. I have to do it all by myself. Every day, go, 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 go. Her nervous system was spun out. Okay, so she also had to listen to her nervous system and talk to her nervous system and bring in her light and her feminine energy, which your feminine energy is your healing energy. Let's not forget, right? She had to bring in her feminine energy into her nervous system and soothe her nervous system. And so therefore, what I am looking to say to you here is, for you to be in your feminine energy is the way for you to be on your soul path. And like I've said, it's not about one great big gesture. It's not about one great big decision. You being on your soul path is the way of the new earth. You being on your soul path is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's a relearning of all of the parts of you. Okay, so it's not just your intuition, right? It's not just about you knowing your intuition and feeling your intuition. Sometimes these other aspects need to be addressed first, right? Because sometimes some people have a little bit of a struggle with hearing their intuition or feeling their intuition. It's not to their fault, not to your fault, not to anybody's fault. It's just remembering that there are other parts of you that can be very loud. And if you find yourself primarily in your masculine energy, if you find yourself primarily in that go, 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 masculine energy, ego, whip cracking experience, then the chances of you hearing or feeling or knowing your intuition are very slow, very small, right? And this is why. This is the other side of the coin. Yes, on the one side of the coin is the intuition, but on the other side of the coin is your ego and what it maybe has hooked into and what it is maybe holding on to, right? And so it's very important for you to always remember that for you to be in your feminine energy and for you to make it your new lifestyle, for you to make it a new way of being, to check in with yourself, get into your feminine energy, and take that time. It's very important, very, very, very important. Of course, we can work together. You can do a session with me or somebody else, but in the end, it needs to become your lifestyle. You have to learn it. And I'm sure it's okay to find assistance with this learning of this way of being, if that's what you feel you need. But know that you have all the wisdom. You have all the wisdom, all the knowledge inside of yourself. You as a woman are equipped. Your feminine energy is your primary energy. When you are in your feminine energy, you are naturally connected to your body. When you are in your feminine energy, you will be able to listen to your body and hear your body and feel your body and know what your body wants and needs and what your soul is communicating to you through your body. And when you're in your feminine energy, it's much easier also to talk to the ego, to get a sense for where the ego is holding on to or not holding on to, what the ego is needing or wanting, or how the ego is maybe falsely protecting you, falsely supporting you still. Where is it hooked still? Into old attachment, right? So for example, I want to just give you a few more ego examples. If you have had an illness for a long time, or if you've been physically unwell for a long time, your ego is most likely used to you being unwell. That needs to be addressed and shifted. If you're used to toxic relationships, unhealthy relationships, your ego is used to it and thinks that's the norm. You have to address that. You have to talk to your ego to shift that into the new way now. That yes, you are now ready to be healthy. You are now ready to give and receive beautiful love. Yes, you are now ready to receive prosperity, another one, right? If you've had financial struggles, then your ego might still be invested in keeping you in that way, in that patterning, because that's the norm. That's what your ego knows. Remember, your ego doesn't like change. Your ego thinks it's protecting you by holding on to what it knows, by holding on to what it has been programmed into, by holding on to what it has kept you in. You have to acknowledge this to yourself, that there may be parts of your ego holding on to the old paradigm, the old ways, the old lack, the old fear, the old doubt, the old limitation, the old scarcity. And these parts of you where the ego is still holding on, where the ego is still hooked in, is yours to address. And the best way to do it is by you being in your feminine energy. Getting into your feminine energy, no thoughts. Really breathing into your body, opening into your body, using your breath to connect into Mother Earth. Ground yourself, ground yourself, ground yourself. Use the breath to open yourself. Oh, use the breath to open your energy. Use the breath to really connect into these parts of yourself, knowing that there are so many parts to you. And every single part of you needs to be communicated with, and every single part of you needs to be on the same page. The new of what you want for yourself. This soul path is the guidance for you. The soul path is your future into the new earth. You being on your soul path is you being in your authenticity. It is you being in your joy. It is you being in your self-worth. It is you being the light that is prosperous and healthy and abundant and giving and receiving of love and enjoying this life. That's the new earth journey. So by being in your feminine energy and opening into yourself, you will be able to call forth your ego. You can even say, I would like to speak to my ego. Right? Get a sense for it. Maybe it's a voice, maybe it's a feeling, right? However, you're most opened. Ask your ego, how are you doing? How are you doing? Where are you at in terms of prosperity? Where are you at in terms of me moving? Where are you at in terms of me changing jobs? Where are you at in terms of me and my health? Where are you at in terms of, right? Life, my friends, whatever it is for you in this moment, whatever you're wanting to address with your ego, you've got to get into that. And by you staying in your feminine energy for this communication, make sure you don't let yourself get pulled by your ego into the doubt that you're just making it up. You're not making it up. You've got to really, and if it takes a few sessions, that's okay. You got to stay on it. You've got to communicate with your ego. You've got to make sure you're aware of where your ego is at. Okay. And then, of course, body communication, just as important. Just as important. All parts of you are equally important. You can't have a car without tires. You can't have a car without steering wheel. Right? All parts of you are necessary for this human incarnation. And now to get every part of you on board to get to the highest timeline, to get into and onto your soul path. So the body communication works in the same way. Be in your feminine energy, be in your grounding, use your breath. Ask your body, how are you feeling? How are you doing? What are you wanting to tell me? What haven't I listened to? What's going on, right? Especially if there are little pains or aches or something. There is no reason for you to have pains and aches. The body is not designed to get sick, and the body is also not designed to not age. There is nothing in our cell structure that shows that we are meant to age. It's wrong living, ego living, fear living, polluted living that gets us to age. And of course, as we know, stress. There's also nothing in us. We don't have to carry forth our ancestry. We don't have to carry forth whatever was passed down in our DNA. It doesn't have to get activated. And you can deactivate it. Especially now with these frequencies being so high, you got to take your power back. You got to be the light that you've come here to be. And the way to do it is through your feminine energy. And then you connect with your body and you talk into the parts that are holding on, that are maybe uncomfortable, that are maybe painful. Talk to these parts of your body. What's going on? What's in here? What are you looking to tell me? Is it any emotion that I haven't been processing? Is it any trauma that I haven't been processing? Am I not listening to my body in terms of a decision? Like my client example, her move, right? Or maybe you're in a toxic relationship and you need to get out of that relationship and your body is trying to tell you and you're not listening, right? So again, you are equipped with everything you need. You already are the infinite being that you are. You already are source. You already are goddess. You already are the divine light. And the more that you are in your feminine energy, the more that you are bringing in your light, the more that you are taking charge and speaking with these parts of yourself compassionately, supportively. It's all about self-support. It's all about self-compassion. It's all about self-love. You can get every part of you onto the right page, your soul path page. And that's a lifestyle, because you have to keep up with it, because you will continue to evolve and you will continue to shift and change. Nothing is as certain as change, especially with these experiences that are about to come up and already are. So you're going to have to keep addressing the changes with your ego. You're going to have to keep listening to your body and your intuition with the changes that your soul wants you to make, because in the end, you are here for your soul. Your body is here for your soul. Your body is here to serve your soul. Your feminine energy serves your soul. Your masculine energy serves your soul in this human incarnation. Your nervous system serves your body and your soul. Everything that you are here, this entire incarnation, is for your soul. The lessons, the growth, the karma to be cleared, and now to ascend and to become who you already are while in human form, light and love and divinity. And so to get your ego out of the way and to get your ego to be supportive of the earthly aspects, where you are in charge, where you are the boss, where you are directing and assigning the roles, right? You got to delegate now. You got to delegate, getting all parts of you onto your soul path journey, and keep adjusting, keep having these communications. As things are shifting and changing, stay in your feminine energy, because that's where you're naturally flexible. That's where you're naturally adjusting. And sometimes you're going to like drag that ego along and be like, okay, so now we're going to do this. And then we're going to do this. And the more that you do that, the more comfortable it becomes to you and your ego. And everybody is going to be happily ever after. And if you haven't looked at the Schumann resonance, take a look at the Schumann resonance, Google it. I'll put a picture here. As I'm mentioning the Schumann resonance, the vibrations have been coming in so high, so high. The upgrades that we are receiving have been more intense than ever before on this planet. Which means, again, like I've said before, listen to your body, follow your body's needs, whatever it wants. If it wants to rest, if it wants to work out, it depends on the energy levels. Don't push right now. Just be in your body, in your feminine energy, and do what is supportive of this integration, of these upgrades that are coming in. I am so grateful for you and your energy and your presence here on this platform. And I am so grateful for your light, on your beautiful light that you are anchoring onto this earth plane. And as always, from here, with love and light blessings to you and yours. Big hugs. Ciao for now.